Everyone says you don't need to be a developer to build an app anymore. So I've been putting that to the test, building the exact same coffee ordering app for every major app builder on a $100 budget and scoring each one out of 25. Today, it's FlutterFlow, probably one of the biggest names in no-code app builders. And I've got to be upfront with you. This is take 2. My first build took almost 20 hours, and that was supposed to be this video. I actually got pretty far. I learned some of the basics of FlutterFlow, got real screens working, and then I ran into issue after issue after issue, especially with Firebase and connecting all of the Google services. It was just a pain in the ass. And trying to compress 20 hours of pain and errors into a video under an hour just didn't make sense. It didn't flow, and honestly, half of it was me trying to fix things you learn nothing from. So I started over, fresh build, same spec, same challenge. One coffee ordering app built in web, iOS, and Android on a $100 budget. This is FlutterFlow, round 2. Let's go. Okay, we're going to start out in FlutterFlow Designer so we can design the screens for our app. So let's sign in. Okay, so it seems like we can do one instant generation of exactly what we want, or we can explore some styles. And we can do a mobile or a desktop version. I'm going to stick with mobile for now. And I'm going to paste in our prompt, and I'm going to stick with explore styles. All right, just give it a couple minutes to generate some styles, and we'll see what it comes up with, and then we'll check it out. Okay, this looks pretty good. But if you notice this one, all of the cards kind of overlap. They have overlap issues. So the second row of cards are on top of the add to cart buttons. There should be a little bit more spacing. But these two, both of these are good designs. I like both of these. None of these, in my opinion, feel good. This is okay as well. I think we're going to stick with this first one, although I really like the second one as well. But let's go to prompt for changes. Can you increase the space in between the rows? Right now, each row of cards is kind of overlapping the row before it or the row above it. All right, just send that message in and let it regenerate, and hopefully it'll fix those spacing issues, and then we'll be back on track. Don't make the items all sold out, and we still need add to cart buttons. So in this second go through, the designer, I'm struggling with that a bit more. We're doing more iterations. It was a lot closer the first go around. It wants the add to cart button to be inside the card. Just go to the original. I'm going to say use this style and then see if it generates, all of our pages. And then from there, we'll see what we need to change, if anything. Okay, there we go. Starting to update a bit. The user auth looks really nice. I like that. That came out really good. Profile is well organized. I'm not mad at that either. I like the order queue. So the designs I'm getting now, these are much better than the first go around. They're similar in a lot of the design motifs, the colors, the icons, but I feel like the organization is just a little better. This isn't an item detail page. It's the same as the home screen. Please make this the item detail screen for an individual item. Upload it. And again, this looks very close to what I got the first time. The only difference is it added the add to cart to the top. I don't like that. I want it on the bottom. Add the quantity and add to cart button on the bottom, not the top, please. It's not wanting to do that. It's errored out a few times. I'm going to do a hard refresh. I feel like the hard refresh changed the colors, obviously. And I don't know if this is just like a dark mode that it's kind of saying we're on now. I'm not sure. But we still want to get that details order screen correct. There we go, right here. Put this section on the bottom instead of the top. This time I highlighted the actual components. There we go. Now it's working. Okay, overall, I think this is pretty good here. So I'm going to go ahead and just start copying it. And what we do here is we click on this and we go over to export to FlutterFlow. We click on that, and what it's going to do is going to copy. Now we can go back to our projects. I'm going to create a new project, Brew to go Flutter. Or I'm just put F. I don't know if we can have parentheses or not. Okay, nope. Brew to go FF. We'll just keep it like that. Okay, great. Now let's go to pages, delete page. All right, it's blank. Now I'm going to hit Control V to paste. Same paste from FlutterFlow Designer. And it's pasting one frame. Would we like to apply the designer theme or keep our existing theme? I'm going to say apply designer theme because we want to keep that theme that it generated in those series of screens. Boom, there we go. Perfect. So now I'm going to add a new page. And let me just see. Okay, well, I'm going to skip splash screen. We'll do item detail, export. We'll go back, add a page, and create blank page, item detail. All right, so there's the item detail. Then we'll do shopping cart, export. Okay, then we'll go to pages, next page, create blank, shopping cart. Excellent. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to copy and paste the rest of those screens, bring them all into our FlutterFlow project and get them sorted under this pages folder. And then we'll be right back once I'm done with that. Here I am back in FlutterFlow. I have all my screens imported. And this is kind of where I was at last time, where I started to use ChatGPT to use, or specifically Codex, to do computer use and MCPs. I know FlutterFlow has an MCP. I think it might be fully released. When I first started the project, there was no MCP. Then there was later on. And I just started using computer use. Because again, I could, of course, just, go through here and start using it. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's just quite confusing to me. I get some of the UI. Like, this is just a breakdown of the layers. This makes incredible sense to me for the most part. However, trying to add functionality does sometimes get confusing to me. I get that that's some of this over here, but I realized last time it took me probably a couple hours to add basic functionality, but I didn't even have all the functionality I wanted, like these tabs being scrollable and separate the different sections. I couldn't figure that part out, so that didn't really work for me per se. But using the computer use worked. It was just rather slow. And then the MCP took a while on the back end for Codex to, finish the changes and to get everything programmed. But once uploaded and working, was a good way to get the functionality I wanted. It saved me a lot of time in that I didn't have to learn the ins and outs of FlutterFlow, because if you're a completely non-technical user or someone that's never used FlutterFlow before, this can be quite overwhelming. At least it is to me. It was the first time that I went through this project, and it's still pretty overwhelming to me. But now that we have everything we need here, I'm just going to go ahead and move over to Codex. We're going to move over to Codex and then start using the FlutterFlow MCP. Okay, here I am back in ChatGPT Codex. I'm just going to create a new project, and we're going to call this Brew to Go FlutterFlow. I have a FlutterFlow account with a new FlutterFlow project called Brew to Go F. I want to use the FlutterFlow MCP to start adding functionality to my screens that are already in my project. Then I'll just submit this, and it should begin kind of running me through what I need to do as far as signing in, connecting my account, and getting Codex to work on my project. As you might have noticed, it mentioned using the FlutterFlow CLI, the command line interface. Again, that's kind of what I used last time before the MCP started, before I got access to the MCP, and that helped. But yeah, like there's a lot of different tools that aren't fully fleshed out, in my opinion. Like the CLI can do some of the work, the MCP can do some of the work, and then like the designer can do some of the work. It can design the screens, but it adds no functionality. I would really love to see that implemented in the end. This is the project ID that it wants. Then we need to go get an account. We need an API key. I think we got to do that on a project level basis. So let's log back in. And this is one of my issues, just the builder itself seems to be kind of slow. At least every time I use it. I don't know if it's an internet issue, a performance on my computer. I'm running a Mac Mini M4, 24 gigs memory. Like, it should theoretically be pretty smooth. All the other apps run really smooth. So I don't know. Just something I found kind of interesting. There we go. So we just go in here, scroll to the bottom. We can get our API token, get that back. Okay, so we're just going to run a terminal, generated my token, and added it in the terminal. Let's just go to the terminal, to a new terminal. Gonna run this command. Now, just to make it easier, I'm gonna go back, gonna copy. Okay, I gave it the API key, told it to proceed. I think it says there was an X and save this just in case. I think we're good, but we'll see. Okay, I think we're set up now. Okay, so I don't even have to fix that. It's doing it itself. So it took me a few times to go back and forth through the prompt to get me officially signed in and get the project downloaded, because we had an issue with the project ID. That was completely on me. I didn't copy the whole thing. I didn't understand which part was the ID, but Codex was able to just use the browser use, look at the project in the browser, get the ID, and get us set up. Now that it's set up, it's saying we have no collections, app states, APIs, action blocks, no custom code, no functionality. So we need to get some functionality and flows created. It says a good one is going from the home screen, which is, if you remember, is kind of like the menu. So going from a menu to an item detail screen to an add to cart that goes to specifically to the shopping cart and to checkout. So that definitely makes sense to me. Yes, this sounds great. Let's build out this flow and any functionality needed. However, should we set up the Firebase database now or later? We should probably go ahead and set up that now, which makes the most sense, because we don't want to start building interactivity and functionality and then try to input the database and rebuild that stuff around the database. Whereas if we have the database just fully set up from the get-go, then we can incorporate and build those items with the database already synced and in place. So, all right, we'll go back. Now, this is something else I had issues with in the first build, but I'm hoping it should be a lot smoother this go around. There we go. So let's create a project. Yep, all this will work for me. Use legacy access. We'll just click that just in case. We'll do North America. That's where I'm at. Sign in with Google. Okay, it's creating the project. Now, the issues turned out to be last time was I didn't have enough room for another project. I've built other apps using Firebase. I've used other no-code builders and exported or used Firebase as the database for those projects. Because of that, I had no room, and it wasn't allowing me to add anything. Then once I finally did get access and could create more projects, when I tried to create an existing project and connect it over using this second section, again, there was just a whole lot of issues. I eventually got it done, but I'm talking 2 to 3 hours were spent just fighting the Firebase database. So I'm really hoping this time things will go a lot smoother. This should work, and we can just instantly start using the MCP to start building out functionality after we have our database set up. And now is probably a good time to say, you could go through the option of not using the MCP and do everything manually, but just my opinion, it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to be a hell of a learning curve. You're going to have to stop and look up documentation, resources, YouTube videos, just to kind of get an understanding of what needs to be done. In my experience, when we have this $100 budget and we're operating in the sense of we're entrepreneurs, time is money. So I want to do what makes sense and what could be the fastest. So for me, we spent $50 of the $100 budget getting a monthly subscription to FlutterFlow. Now I would suggest using another $20, if not $40, to get a 1 or 2 different accounts with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT includes Codex. Now, why would I say use ChatGPT's $20 account versus, Claude? That's because the usage. You're going to get more usage from Codex than you are Claude Code. Plus, there's kind of this ongoing debate and argument of whether Claude Code will stay inside the $20 plan. So there could be a day to where you go buy the $20 Claude plan and you don't even get access to Claude code. So I'm just going to go use Codex straight from the jump. Plus, in my experience, not only have the Codex usage been more forgiving and been more substantial, but when I first did this project, there was a lot of 2-time promotions going on. So you're getting double the usage. Those aren't the case anymore. However, this month, they've reset the limits on ChatGPT's end, OpenAI's end, several times this month. And I have 3 Codex resets. So if I go back to Codex here, I can go to usage. This has my usage, but I also have these resets. And I actually have 4 resets, which is incredible. So I can use these at any given time. And that's just what I'm saying. Like OpenAI has been more generous with the usage and the credits. So that would be my go-to in this situation, just me personally. But you can also use Claude Code. So it says they created the Firebase project for us. It's connected. It's working. We just need to enable auth and we need to enable storage. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll start with the authentication. So let's get started. We're just going to do email. Yes. And then we'll do Google as well. And from my experience building some of these coffee apps using other tools, I do know we're going to have to enable iOS as well if we want to be able to sign in and upload this app to the App Store, because they want you to be able to sign in with your Apple account. I'm not going to add that at this moment, but just know we're going to have to come back and do that. Okay, let's go back and then need to enable storage. So it should run that as well. So this is an issue. This is and the biggest downfall of this to me is FlutterFlow is all obviously helping you use Flutter. Flutter is obviously a language from Google. So it's basically a Google service or a Google product. And that's where the issue comes to me. Not that I dislike Google or dislike using Google products, but the billing and the setting up the projects through the Google Cloud, it's horrible, completely horrible. I hate it. Like I've never had so much issues with it. And it just go the same like using a service like Clerk to set up authentication and then going to Google Cloud and setting up everything you have. So it says your name, like the name of your company versus saying signing in using Clerk. That is an extremely horrible and laborious process that it's hard to get working. Like it took me hours basically, especially the very first time that I went for it. Down here is we're on a Blaze plan. So I think we might be set up. Yeah, here we go. Yep. Okay, let's ask Codex this. On FlutterFlow, it told us to set up Firebase auth and to set up Firebase storage. I'm setting up Firebase storage now, and it's asking if I want to start in production mode or start in test mode. What's the best route? Okay, cool. So it said definitely use production mode. So, yep, we're in there. An unknown error occurred. Please refresh the page. Okay. It's not even like giving me like what to do. Downgrade and see if I can just use the free plan. Still getting the unknown error. Oh my God. We just keep going in circles. Disable billing on a few of these. And then, okay, I think we're good now. Please be good. Last time it wasn't even I had too many billing projects. It's just I had too many general projects. But okay, now we're locked in this time. I think we're good to go. Okay, let's go back to FlutterFlow. I'm just going to go back to the project. There we go. Production mode is now set up. The Firebase auth is set up. The Firebase storage is set up. I have not set up anything like rules or anything like that. Can you handle that and finish anything that we need to have set up correctly? It looks like everything's good to go. Let's just head back over to FlutterFlow and run a test preview. And before I hit preview, this is something I noticed last time when I did it in the first build. Sometimes it does these placeholder names for variables, which makes it look like your item isn't, or your app that isn't complete. But once you run it in preview mode and test it, you'll see that it's okay. This is just how it looks with custom code. So this is completely a custom situation, not just, how it looks normally on FlutterFlow or, an issue with FlutterFlow. Just want to clear that up. All right, so we'll wait on it to build the test app to test it out. And again, I mentioned this in the original. My issues with FlutterFlow specifically come down to the builder is sometimes slow. This is beyond the rough UX and that it's hard to grasp. So it has like a deep learning curve. Beyond all that, my issue is the builder is kind of slow, and it definitely takes a while to run these tests and, like to build your app every time. That's a little annoying. I'd get if we had to do it one time, but like every time we make an update and come back and we're gonna have to do this. And that's just something annoying that eats up a lot of time. All right, looks like we're good to go now. And I must say, I do like the way this came out. It looks pretty good. Let's see, should we join the batch? Oh, that issue there. Okay. When I go to sign in and, or actually when I go to sign up and click join the batch, I get an error about a bad format or a bad email format. So can we fix this? Also, I can't sign in with Google. It says it's not turned on yet. All right, so it looks like I got that done. Let's head right back and we'll refresh the build. All right, we'll click join the batch. Okay, let's go back. Might have to rebuild. I just did a hard refresh that time. I didn't know if that would be enough or not. I don't think it was. There we go. We had new custom functions, custom code that had to be verified. It's good to go. Now we'll just run it in test mode. Now we just wait for it to load back up. And see, like now this time it says it's clearly going to take less time than it did last time. It was like 2 to 4 minutes. This is like, typically takes under a minute, and here it comes. So it's not always as slow, but it's not being able to just go straight into the preview really sucks. So if there was a way to work on that, that'd be great. Okay, so we'll click join the batch. Oh, so we gotta put information. Let's see what happens with Google. Okay. Okay, so it loaded us in. That was nice. But it seems to be that's all there is. So let's go back. Okay, this is a good start, but we have no menu items at all. We need to make sure the database is filled out with menu items. The menu items need to consist of a bunch of different coffee drinks, whatever that would normally be on a menu, like hot drinks, cold brews, etc. We need some pastries and food items, and it needs to be selectable from the menu buttons above, the little category buttons. That way we can sort through the different menu items. And of course, we'll give it a moment to update the code, fill in the database with some of these items, and we'll give it a test once it's done. All right, so it says it made the updates, added menu items, search filters, everything we wanted. So let's head back. Okay, looks like we're probably going to have to head back. Let's validate these functions real quick and then run the test build. This says everything's good, so we're just going to go ahead and test. Awesome, now we have a few different items. Okay, we're going to have to have that fixed. Never seen that error before, but no worries. We'll have AI look at it. I'll actually take a screenshot, 2 different ones, just so I have those. And then, okay, so search works, but it doesn't work automatically. Like it doesn't work in real time with debouncing. Or maybe it does. Maybe it's just really slow. Okay, let's head back. The category chips allows you to select and filter through the categories, but I can't scroll horizontally or drag them like you would with the mouse or on mobile. Please fix this. As well as the search. The search takes a while to work. Please make it a real-time search with debouncing though. Make sure the results don't show up instantly, but they do show up pretty quickly. Lastly, we need to work on the individual page. When I click on an item of like an individual item, I get an error when it goes to the next screen. All right, so let's go back and test out these changes. It says the category strip now supports the horizontal dragging, which we wanted. Okay. Reduce the debounce. Okay. All right, yep. So everything should be working now. We'll just go back. Now let's go to the project. There we go. Process these custom functions real quick. Okay, I think we're good to go there. All right, we're starting up a new build. Just wait for this to load up real quick. Awesome, I can drag those. They sort. I can scroll as well. Perfect. Then let's just say muffin. Yep. It doesn't take nearly as long now. So let's say cough. Oh, so let's just go all items. Okay, yep. That's working. Now let's select a latte. Okay, yep. Goes in. It's in our cart. We can go to checkout. Add the ability to change quantities or delete items from the cart. Says you can currently delete a line. I don't see it. Oh, you can from the cart there. Okay. Sorry, I'm at the checkout page. And then just see if anything else needs work. Okay, so that's in my favorites. How do I get to my favorites? We don't have a menu. All right, so after it fixes that, we're going to ask for a menu. We need to add bottom row navigation like a traditional mobile app. Right now we can't get to the other pages. And I just got that queued up for after it works on this first issue of the checkout page. All right, so we're back. It says it's done, so we'll just go ahead and do the usual. Go back to the project. Check for bugs and errors. Okay, perfect. Good to go there. So we're just going to go ahead and test it. In the accounts page, I want the favorites to actually populate the user's favorites. All right. One thing though is this works, but we need the active color to match our theme because it doesn't currently. And this isn't me. It logs in, but I don't know what the MA stands for. Okay, it has our actual favorite now. Let's go back, see if we can't add, another favorite. Yep. Okay, cool. When we favorite an item, the item doesn't show that it's filled in the heart that it's favorited on its individual item page. Can we make it so it does that? So that way we can click the heart to unfavorite in case we want to take it off our favorites list. Also, in the tab menu of the categories, the active selection is blue, like the button's blue. Can we make it match our current theme? Make it so the circle that you click on for the user account has the user's initials or avatar or profile picture, or make it like a default avatar icon. So that way it's not showing random initials like it says MA when I click on it and my name doesn't start with M or A. All right, it fixed the menu button color. Okay, change that. Need to update it on the home page, but let's go to this. Yep. Then let's go back. Yep. Just need to go back to the page. It doesn't refresh instantly, but that's not a huge deal. Let's try adding a few things to my cart here. Got 2 things. When placing an order, we should be able to leave our name, email, number. Should be able to do a guest flow. So a guest should be able to order without signing in as well. We need to update for that. Also set up a cart flow so I can actually check out all the way. Set up Stripe with a test environment so that we can actually check out with Stripe. I put my credentials in and it said there was an error with the Stripe config when I go to save. It's done and it's deployed. All right, it says it's done. Let's head back. I'm going to go back. Just let this code validate real quick. Checked up here, but it's still spinning here. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Could be because we have a lot of new codes in the custom widgets. Because we have a whole lot of pages and components now. We'll just see if it lets us build it. It's starting to go faster because we're using so much custom code. But all right, let's add this to our cart. Okay, nice. Let's go. Let's say we want to add some food. The lemon poppy seed loaf. And let's say we need one more drink. We'll get an espresso. We'll do cappuccino. No, we'll do flat white. And we'll add that to our cart. Okay, it's everything. So let's proceed to checkout. We're going to do ASAP. What happened? Can we select? We cannot select schedule for later. Name Dan. Good to go. Okay, now I should be able to go check my orders. Yep. Okay, so the order history isn't there. We need the order history for the user accounts as well as active orders with the ability to see the change in real times. So like when the order goes from pending to started to ready to picked up, the whole delivery schema. Also, we need to add the ability to schedule for a later time and day. Also, we do not need to select the location that is predetermined in the app. And while Codex works on that, I'm just going to head over to our app and I'm going to run through the user flow, click on a few things, test out a few areas, just so I can get a feel of what still needs to be worked on and what still needs to be fixed. My thinking here is that I'm going to create a running list of items that need to be worked on. And then I'm just going to go back to Codex once I'm done. I'm going to give all those items to it one by one to create a log and a queue of things for it to work on. And hopefully it'll knock out most of the features that still need to be worked on in the app all at once or in one work session. Okay, I think I have everything we need. So let's head back to Codex. Okay, so I got my list and I'm going to start pasting those in one by one. I'm going to start by adding add to cart buttons on all the items on the menu screen. Then I'm going to change the profile pic slash avatar to use the same initials that's used on the account page. Then I'm going to paste in that we're having those bottom overflow issues with some of the cards on the main menu page. Next, I'm going to add that there's a type of error message. Then, of course, we need the admin link or the admin section, and that should be for me. And lastly, I'm just going to ask Codex to test every function and flow throughout the app just to make sure that everything's working correctly in order before it comes back to me, just to see if it can catch anything and fix it before bringing it back. Okay, Codex is done with those changes, and it's been a while. That took probably a couple hours to work through that work session, but it's working through every single one of those. And now I'm just going to click on the errors and rebuild the custom functions again to check for any issues. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the app here and test it out. Okay, awesome. I can see it fixed those bottom overflow issues with the cards by adding a little more space to each card. Okay, and the avatar link at the top has been changed. Now let me try signing in. Let me click on forget password. Oh, okay, I just realized that my email was wrong, so let me fix that. Okay, still not getting in. Okay, I'm still not getting the email link sent to me, so I'm just going to have to head over to Codex and tell Codex to work on it. I'll let Codex work on that, and then we'll skip ahead. Okay, so we're back, and I got my link to update the password. So now I'm just going to log in. All right, and first thing I noticed is add to cart buttons inside the cart so that way you don't have to click on the individual items. But I see the buttons aren't styled like the rest of our app, so I'm going to have to fix that. Everything looks pretty good. I can go to the account page. There I have my past orders. I can go to admin. Here's the section to change the status of the orders. So let me make these orders as in progress and see if that updates on my profile. Yep, so now they're started. Yep, so now the orders show that they've been started. Let's head back to Codex. I'm going to tell it to make the avatar at the top link to the profile user page. And then I'm going to add another message. I'm going to tell it to find all the default styling where the buttons are blue or gray and to apply our design system to those stylings. All right, everything should be done. If you notice in the preview here now in FlutterFlow, you can't see any of the UI elements rendered. That's not an error or an issue. That just means we have too much custom code. That scared me the first time I was building, where it took me much longer than that first video. I thought it was an issue and I almost started over, but that just means, again, that we have a lot of custom code. So let's run this preview here. Yep, and everything's still looking pretty good. So let's head back. I'm going to go ahead and deploy the progressive web version of the app. All right, I need to go to project settings. Then let's see, where is it? Okay, it's right here, web deployment. Then we'll click on open platform settings. And then I'll toggle on enable web. Then I'll head back up here and click publish to web. Now we have our app. It's live and deployed. Let me click on the link. All right, everything looks good. We can click through and filter through our products in the menu. We can click on individual items. I can favorite an item. And let's head to the user account. Yep, it shows up in my user account. I can take it off my favorites. Let me just reload the page by coming back to it. See, yep, it's gone. Then we have the admin as well. We have all of our products. We have this product right here marked out of stock. We'll come back to that. Then we have the orders. I can add a new item to the menu. And then here are the same orders that have been started. So they were in progress. Now they show to me as started. We go back to the main menu. This item's marked out of stock as it should be. Then we can add to cart. So let me just add a couple items real quick. Oh, let me add one more drink. And then head out to checkout. I just need to fill out my information here real quick. And we placed our order for 2 drinks for $12.64. Over in Stripe, we can see it's been processing all these orders and that we have our latest order for $12.64. Now I can head back over to the web app and I'm just going to show off the mobile version real quick. Open it up here. Here we have the category menu. I can filter through. I can add items to cart. I can access the cart. I can go to the account page. Everything pretty much works as normal and as expected. Get to the sign in button. I can click on individual items. I can add them to the cart. I can clear the cart. I think it's pretty good in my opinion. So now let's just go ahead and try to save it as a web app so I can add it to my home screen. There it is. Let's click on it, open it up. Okay, and it loaded up. Awesome, there you have it. The entire app built out in FlutterFlow. And again, I'll be showing the deployment of the mobile apps in a bonus episode where we cover that for every platform. And that'll do it for this episode. Let's go ahead and wrap up with scoring how the build went. For ease of use and user experience, I gotta give FlutterFlow a 2.5 out of 5. FlutterFlow was kind of hard to use. On its own, I'd give it maybe even a 1.5 or 2. The MCP and AI features pull it back up a bit, but even with those, my first build took close to 20 hours. That lands it at a 2.5 for me. When it comes to build speed, I'm giving FlutterFlow a 3 out of 5. Build speed isn't fast. The builder can lag. There's a real learning curve that adds time. And even if you go the MCP route, you're waiting for the AI to think, code, and process. For reference, my first project took about 20 hours and the second one took about 9. That's kind of the range you can expect depending on the experience you get. When it comes to customization and control, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. This is where FlutterFlow kind of shines. You've got options. There's templates. There's also the AI powered designer tool. There's preset components and custom code. So you can build a lot of different things and plenty of custom components. I can't fault them there at all. When it comes to web and native mobile support, I'm giving FlutterFlow a 4.5 out of 5. FlutterFlow is built to publish to the web, iOS, and Android, so you're completely covered there. You're still on your own to actually deploy the mobile apps. Like Base 44, it hands you the files and getting them online is on you. But that's pretty normal and standard for most tools. The exception is probably Adalo, which has a studio that walks you through the entire deployment process. So that's pretty nice. Be on the lookout for that Adalo build coming soon. When it comes to cost effectiveness, FlutterFlow scored a 3.5 out of 5. FlutterFlow is $50 a month, which isn't terrible on its own, but if you go the MCP route, you need an AI subscription too. That's another $20 a month or $40 if you want more usage across 2 accounts. Now you're at least $70 to $90 of your $100 budget. So it can get pricey if you want to get the most out of it. And this brings us to a grand total of 17.5 out of 25. FlutterFlow is a good option if you're already in the Google ecosystem and you already know Flutter a bit or you're familiar with this tool. It's hard to recommend to new or non-technical users though. The learning curve is pretty steep, and if you skip learning the tool itself, you end up leaning entirely on the AI features and custom code. At that point, you have to ask, why not just build the whole thing in Claude Code or Codex? If you know the ecosystem and know what you want, it works. In its current state though, it's just not for beginners. I like to see the halfway there AI features get finished. Make the designer easier to import into the actual app, and build out its functionality at least to a solid foundation. It's clear to me a decent middle ground would go a long way.